Yeah, I mean, technically, like Pulp Fiction was a Disney movie because Miramax was owned by Disney.
Well, slow down. I don't know if I Google a list of Disney movies, Pulp Fiction doesn't pop up. It's not like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Pulp Fiction, Bambi.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best of. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners,
Bingo.
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night is an heiress
No,
running
impossible.
away from her daddy.
How did he not find her? She jumped off the boat and was gone immediately.
Yeah, like people got in boats and were like, I don't know, sir, she disappeared.
She must be gone.
You a fucking Olympic swimmer? How'd she get away so fast?
I don't know. Kind of one of the many mysteries of this film.
This movie's like a puzzle box.
Yeah.
I just can't crack it.
You got to piece it together for sure. It's a thinker.
I am Chaswick Bortleby.
Nice. And I'm Donald's penis.
No, I'm Michael. He's Xander. He is not Donald's penis.
For sure.
And this is a podcast where every week we pick a Best Picture winner at random and try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we're talking about the 1935 Best Picture winner. Let's take a trip back to 1935, the 7th Annual Academy Awards, held at the Biltmore Bowl of the Biltmore Hotel on Wednesday, February 27th.
You know that place reeked of cigarettes too.
We're talking about Frank Capra's "It Happened One Night." It's about Ellie Andrews, played by Claudette Colbert. Yeah, who's
Really?
an heiress.
Okay.
She's about to marry some guy named King Wesley.
Who also has to be a rich fuck, right?
He seems like way older than her too. He seems like her dad's age, and I'm like,
It seems like
This
he
guy's
doesn't
deal.
know her. Like, it seems like she has no idea who he is. Like, they met on some enchanted New York evening and decided to get married.
yeah. And wisely, her father is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't marry that guy you barely know. And she's like, fuck you, dad. You're always trying to stop me from doing what I want.
It's so funny because he is portrayed as like this kind of curmudgeonly, like controlling father, but he's really the only person who is of sane mind right now.
100%.
Yeah.
So Ellie runs away. So her father doesn't approve of the marriage. She jumps off a boat, swims away, is fleeing because she has to get to New York
Yeah. Has to.
to marry King Wesley, so her father can't like annul their marriage. Or they are married
They're
or about to be married?
Yeah,
no, they haven't married yet.
They haven't married because they get married at the end. Spoilers.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I guess she wants to marry him, and Daddy doesn't approve.
But along the way,
You'll never guess.
who does she stumble across? But a guy with a totally normal, totally memorable name, Peter Warren,
Yes,
played by
classic.
Clark Gable. And Warren is a sort of drunk. Well, he's not really a drunken. He's
No,
sort
I
of
think he. Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we're introduced to Mr. Peter Warren, he's kind of So first of all, he's a journalist or a reporter, a news reporter, I guess freelance, because he's in a phone booth screaming at his editor. And I assume drunk. It looked like he's drunk with his boys and just like screaming into a phone booth, which I guess big mood, but also like, is he drunk? I'm not sure. Like that whole scene is so bizarre. I feel like it's not true to his character. He's like a completely different person in that scene than he is throughout the rest of the movie.
And he gets drunk like twice in the first scene. He's drunk. The first introduction to him, he's drunk, and then
Yeah.
at the end, like near the end, doesn't he get drunk when like Ellie's gonna marry King Wesley? Yeah, right.
Or at least he's got a drunken demeanor or something. I don't know if he's actually been drinking, but like when he meets with her father, he seems crazy.
Yeah. That is the scene where he's asking for like the 39.40 that he's owed or whatever. Like,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
just drunk demanding like cab fare or something.
it is true. It seems like they came up with that like they thought it would be fun to introduce him in this way, and it is a great introduction to his character. But
Yeah.
it is kind of uncharacteristic for how he acts the rest of the movie. Like I guess he's like kind of a cavalier sort of like out for himself kind of guy, but like the drunken part and like being sort of I don't know, just sort of like loosey goosey with his job isn't really his character.
No, like not at all. Like as soon as he meets Ellie, it seems his demeanor shifts.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden he's this. I guess he's not gentlemanly at first. Actually, he's really not gentlemanly at all. But I guess when he meets her, I guess he has a soft spot for her and wants to look after her. She obviously has no idea what she's doing, where she is. She's in way over her depth. It seems like it's the first time she's traveled alone. Her entire suitcase gets stolen. She has like $1 with her. Um, and I guess Peter just is kind of looking to help her out. Although it does seem a little bit predatory at first. So like she is suspicious of him. Uh, but he kind of guides her along the way. He misses his stop purposely, which leads me to ask, like, where is he going? Like, where was his original destination? Because he kind of derails his own trip to help her get to New York.
Yeah, I guess he was just gonna kind of loaf around.
I guess. Listen, I'm here for it.
Sniff out a story.
Maybe that's what it is. And boy, did he find one. When does he find out who she is?
I think it's after she misses the bus. She's like, "Oh, I'll be back. I'm going to get something to eat in town. Bus, can you wait for me?" And then when she comes back, the bus left.
Right.
And
didn't she leave her wallet or something and he sees her ID? Something like that?
is that right? I thought it was like he
Or her
read the
ticket,
newspaper.
I think.
Oh, her ticket.
She
Yeah.
left her ticket.
That's right. I think he also
Finds
like
out that
says
she's a famous heiress.
yeah. And he is like, "Hey, the newspapers are all talking about you."
Which they are. Her father has put out a bounty to find her. Dead or alive, believe it or not.
I miss when movies could just you can't do it now because the internet has made the world too big. I miss when movies could just be like, "Oh yeah, she's like a famous heiress of what?" And like, what does her father do? Doesn't fucking matter. She's
Doesn't matter,
famous.
no.
She's famous
Yeah.
for being rich and everybody knows who she is.
But they board the bus. Peter is smoking a pipe, which is crazy. Just to know that walking around in 1930s America just smells like smoke everywhere you go. God,
Yeah.
my lungs are black from just thinking about it.
Well, cigarettes were at the top of the food pyramid, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But this man he sparks up a full-on pipe on the on a bus.
Yeah, so when they get on the bus, like so this is a pre-code movie. I forget what the name of it's like the code that like that eventually came in that prevented movies from like having certain material in it. Like it's basically like an MPAA sort of thing where it's like, okay, you can't talk about sex or whatever. Like this movie is
Okay.
pre that, and there's so much like innuendo, and it's like the dialogue is so snappy. Um, like I just kind of miss like I love movies in the 30s and 40s when like guys would just kind of like at one point I think Ellie's standing up. It's like right when they meet each other. Peter sits down. Ellie stands up because she's gonna like sit somewhere else, and the bus starts moving, and she like falls into his lap. And
Yeah,
Peter says to her, "Next time you drop in, bring your folks." And I'm like, "That's funny."
that is pretty funny.
And
It
the whole
is.
movie's just filled with like such like great dialogue.
It's a little bit risque actually, which is funny because like literally nothing happens, but um it is surprising and kind of cheeky like how much they can get away with for being a movie from this era. Like you wouldn't think they could show anything at all, but you do see Clark Gable's nips, folks.
And you also see Claudette Colbert's knees, dude.
That is true. I was shocked at how much skin she showed.
Yeah. Even
If you're into
yeah,
that
even
sort
like
of thing.
she undresses in the like one of the hotel rooms at one point. I was like, I could like kind of see her shoulders. Isn't this the 30s?
This is crazy.
Yeah, I could like see kind of her middle back.
This is nuts. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Yeah, so I mean, the movie's very simple. It's basically just them trying to travel to New York and getting in all kinds of misadventures. It's sort of the blueprint for just like kind of almost every romantic comedy to come.
Yeah, I guess, right? Is this kind of the precursor? This is really a precursor to your Along Came Polly's, to your
13 going on 30s.
sure, to your the proposals, perhaps. They do stay overnight at a hotel. Um, his his approach to her, I feel like their connection is so odd because they're almost like rivals. Like he's frustrated with her and she's frustrated with him, but he's like, all right, I got a hotel room and you can stay with me or you can wait at the fucking bus stop if you want. He doesn't say fucking, but you can kind of tell it's what he's thinking.
Yeah,
And she's like, all right, I guess I will stay in this hotel with you. And then they get in. He puts up the little like curtain that separates them, and she goes like, by the way, what's your name? And I'm like, holy shit. Out of your fucking mind.
see, at the same time, like they are at odds throughout the movie, but I kind of love how quickly they, especially early on, like I actually think the movie's very like there's a lot of attention to I think the arc of their relationship and like so they start in one place and then like they start getting feelings for each other and get comfortable with each other and then like as they get closer to their destination you can like Peter starts pulling away because like he
Mhm.
knows like well she's going to marry this other fucking guy and like they're both falling in love with each other
Yeah.
and it just the development of that relationship is so like it's so it's so like rich and satisfying.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely does some things that would be considered
Cool and good.
sure. I was actually gonna say outdated to put it kindly. Um, I mean, he pretends to be like he really leans into pretending to be married. Like it's one thing if you're trying to fend off certain bus creeps, like the true main character of this story, Shapley, who I hope we get to at some point. Um, but then he like really leans into the whole like Mr. and Mrs. thing. Like it's a little weird. Like let's dial it back, guy.
Oh, really? I didn't feel that at all. I don't think.
No? It seemed a little bit he was a little presumptuous.
Okay.
I thought
I'm not saying. Let me be clear. I'm not saying like Peter Warren is like this really upstanding guy. He's really like chivalrous and noble.
that's what it sounds like you're saying.
He's Clark Gable in both movies we've watched that he's in for this show. He is kind of a scumbum little creep. Um,
with arms for days.
Yeah, he's way more charming in this. Gone with the Wind, he's like all actually reprehensible, but this he's just sort of like you're like this guy needs to like this guy needs to take some classes on how to treat a lady.
Yeah, he'll do like he takes like one step forward, one step back kind of thing throughout the
Totally. Yeah, yeah,
whole
yeah.
affair.
Totally.
But yeah, they're just kind of traveling together.
You never seen this movie before.
No, no.
What what was your feeling? Like what were your expectations? What was your ultimate takeaway and feeling about It Happened One Night?
So what's crazy about it is this is perhaps the first time in this series where I truly I don't know what I think about this movie. Like this is maybe the first time, other than maybe Birdman, where I'm kind of at a loss. I'm a little bit on the fence.
Okay.
Um, on the one hand, I think there's clever writing and the characters are interesting to make it like entertaining, which is, at the end of the day, really what matters. There's some really good like lighting and cinematography. I think this movie looks really good. I think with a lot of the black and white movies, lighting is such a standout trait of your film. And it's really noticeable here. Like there's some really dynamic looking shots and it's pleasing to the eye. And on the other hand, like I think I just get this way about romantic movies where if I don't care about the relationship, I'm really uninvested. And I really don't know how I feel about the two of them together. I don't really like them. Like at the end, I don't feel all that satisfied that they ended up together. I never really felt a true spark. Like at the very end, they do end up together, spoilers, but like was that a triumphant moment for you? Because to me, I was kind of like, all right.
I think it was like
Okay.
I don't know if it was triumphant, but I was glad that they were together. I'm not saying this movie definitely isn't like um like Claudia Colbert. I think both leads are very good in this movie.
Yeah.
But Ellie's character is sort of like I think because she's an heiress, she's a little bit ditzy. She kind of doesn't really know how the world works. Like
Hmm.
Peter has to teach her how to dunk a donut in a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Which is like a great to me. That's I think it's like kind of really charming, but it is
That is a
like
good scene because like he gets angry at it to the point of it being funny, but not to the point of it being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Where he's not
yeah.
like fuming, but he's like, "What the fuck? You don't know how to dunk a donut? What the hell?"
Yeah, and like even that scene, even the another scene where like he gives her a piggyback ride across the water, like little moments like that, like really endeared me to their relationship.
Okay.
I just thought it was like really sweet little like moments.
Yeah.
And then
Mm.
to me, the scene that really secured it for me was like I should have written down the dialogue, but the scene where I just think the setup of the scene is so like it really cuts through all the bullshit. It's like and I feel like in a movie now you would have like 10 minutes of like a person struggling with their feelings or whatever, or like fucking talking to their fucking friend about how they feel about this guy or whatever.
There was no friend character in this.
No, it was just them together. And
Yeah.
like the scene in the hotel, like it's sort of like maybe 30 minutes before the movie ends. It's sort of like it's the culmination of tomorrow we're going to be in New York and this is all going to end. And like the scene starts with like Claudette Colbert is like depressed. Fucking Peter's putting up like he calls it the Wall of Jericho, this like kind of privacy sheet that they
Sheet, yeah.
they can sleep and get dressed and stuff. And like Claudette Colbert, like she tells Peter that she loves him, but it doesn't. To me, what's so like clever and like maybe not even clever. It's just so it felt so like new and exciting. Is like
You have goosebumps right now.
yeah, I'm literally like
You're shaking.
aroused just thinking about it.
Relax, pal. Keep it under the desk.
Um, is she tells him that she loves him, and they both are like they both know that they're in love with each other, but they're not. But it's not like they're having like what am I trying to say?
So there's a bit of a disconnect between, like, it seems almost like an inconsequential disconnect where she's like, I love you, and then what happens? He like doesn't hear her or something.
She says she loves him, and then he has like it's the thing though where I was like, oh, this movie actually like rules. Is again, I should have written it down, but it like his he has like it's not really a long monologue, but he has like these few lines about like what he thinks it means to love somebody and like the feeling of that. Um, and he like wants somebody who he can just like travel with and just like be like, and they could just sort of like be each other's like companion. Um, it's just like it's like this beautifully written um monologue and like uh but at the end he sort of ends the monologue by saying like he's like doesn't say that he doesn't love her. He's just sort of like I think she says like I could be that for you or something like that, and then he doesn't respond, and they kind of go to sleep, and then he stays up and she's sleeping, and then like he says like would you really like travel with me and like go and just like go all over the place with me, and she's asleep, um and then
Then he gets pissed.
no, that's when he disappears because he's like I need money to marry her, and so that we can like
That's right.
travel
That's
and
right.
stuff.
My bad. My mistake.
And then she wakes up thinking that he left because why the fuck didn't he write a note? It's like it's a little bit stupid for that reason.
Yeah,
but
classic
like
like
I'll be
Romeo
right
and
back.
Juliet moment where if you had just like if you just left a voicemail or like a Instagram DM, this all could have been alleviated.
Yeah, I loved that scene. I thought it was such a it was just, it felt like so it felt like an honest version of that scene. And it didn't feel trite at all. It didn't feel like generic. It felt
What's
like
sad?
really well observed of like these two people love each other, but like I don't know. I don't know. I just loved it, man. I thought that scene was so good, and I did at that point. I especially did care about their relationship.
It was, yeah, it was unfortunate, but it's also frustrating because it's something that I feel like could so easily have been fixed. Like it really shouldn't have been. The rewards are so monumental and the risks are so steep but so easily avoidable. Like if you had just communicated better, the problem wouldn't have existed. And obviously if he had left her a note, for example, or vice versa, there would be no climactic scene to the movie. But
Yeah, where they fuck.
they do fuck.
You don't see it, but
But you know it's there. You can sense it.
yeah, I don't know. So I ended up walking away from this movie thinking it was really great. The thing with this movie, though, we can keep talking about it. I feel like there's really a lot to say about it. It's very, it's just two people who are occasionally at odds,
Yeah.
occasionally get along, eventually they fall in love, and it's like not super complicated.
Do you have a favorite scene? Like if I don't know what the fuck this is or what you're talking about, I don't even know what you're saying. I don't speak a word of English. If you're talking to me, what would get me to watch this movie? Why should I bother?
Well, at one point,
Why should I get a free Tubi account to watch this?
this is on Tubi. I would point you to the scene where I think they get off a bus because it's stuck in the mud or something like that. Is this when they end up like sleeping in hay in like a field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets
So
the carrots.
that's what I was gonna say. She's really hungry. He's like he stalks away. She thinks he's pissed about something. He comes back with just a fucking bunch of carrots that he
Yeah.
pulled from the ground. And that is romance. That is what you go to the movies for.
That is romance. Until she's like, I don't want these fucking dirty ass carrots. Shove them up
I'm
your
an
ass.
heiress.
I'm an heiress, you idiot. And he's like, fine, I'll eat the carrots. And he's like, just like peeling them away. And then eventually she's like, I'm hungry. He's like, I got you fucking carrots. What do you want from me? For me, it's the flying trapeze.
When they sing on the bus.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
fun.
good. It's
That's
so
so
good.
much fun. I just love the idea of a group of strangers traveling long hours on a bus, getting into a group sing along. I think it's a sing along that goes so hard the bus fucking crashes.
You know, another thing I like about this movie is there's like no music.
No,
And I actually think it helps both the comedy and the drama of the movie.
I
Like
I agree. Yeah,
it sort of like makes it feel it makes it feel way more like you're just kind of like watching people like it feels way more natural.
yeah. Everything that's said just kind of sits there. There's
Yeah.
no aid to it. There's nothing. I listen. Don't get me wrong. I love good music and movies, but there's nothing to guide you on how to feel. It's just what they say and how they say it. Shapley, your favorite character?
Yeah, talk about Shapley.
God, what an absolute creepo. He's just a random bus passenger that Ellie sits next to, and he's like, "Gee, you sure are a nicey dame. Oh, I like the cold ones because when you melt their hot, then they really sizzle." It's like, oh my God, he just doesn't shut up. He's so funny. He's so good. And then he gets wise to the fact that she's an heiress, and he's like, "Listen, pal, I know what you're doing with the girl, and I'm willing to split with your 50-50,
Yeah,
see?"
because her dad's offered a $10,000 reward.
Yeah. Um, and then Peter does what's maybe I think his most romantic moment in the movie, where he like he convinces this guy he's like kidnapping her, holding her hostage for $1 million. And he's like, "So you in with us or out?" And he's like, "I'll show you my piece." And he's like, "No, listen, mister, I didn't realize we were going in that deep." And he's like, "Well, if you're not going in with me, then you better run off in the fucking woods and never come back." And he does.
You know what's also doubly like it makes Shapley even more of a fucking just like little fucking snot.
He's got a wife and kids.
Yeah. He's like, no,
Yeah.
he's like, don't shoot me. I got a wife and kids, please.
It's like,
It's like,
really?
you fucking scumbag loser. You were already a
Yeah.
scumbag and you're doubly scummy for this.
Fuck it.
What?
That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, again, it's to me it's not a super packed movie. It's just very I highly recommend it. It's very fun. I think it's romantic. I think it's silly, quirky, cute.
I would recommend you watch it. I think go ahead. Why not? What are you doing? What do you got? What do you got going on?
Yeah, what's your fucking what do you have something better to do?
What are you gonna watch Cloud Atlas again? You've seen it 3 times. You still don't understand it.
I love Cloud Atlas. Maybe a masterpiece. I've only seen it once. I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, you gotta watch it again.
Do you want to hear
Huh?
the other nominees for the year 1935?
Yes, dude.
There are 12, including It Happened One Night. There are
No.
12 nominees this year. I counted
Don't.
them.
That's bananas.
So strap in.
All right. All right.
We're going to be here for the next 35 minutes.
Okay, listen, I'm here. I got nothing going on.
All right. So first up, we have everybody, the classic, the immutable, the effervescent, the Barretts of Wimpole Street.
This fucking era, dude.
Directed by Sidney Franklin.
World War II clearly hadn't happened yet. These people were too joyous.
These people are too soft. Remarkable poet Elizabeth Barrett is slowly recovering from a crippling illness with the help of her siblings, especially her youngest sister Henrietta, but feels stifled by the domestic tyranny of her wealthy widowed father. When she meets fellow poet Robert Browning in a romantic first encounter, her heart belongs to him. However, her controlling father has no intention of allowing her out of his sight.
Mm.
There
So
are
this is really
yeah.
this leans into the father-daughter conflict.
a lot, yes, very similar to It Happened One Night. There are so many stories where dads just need to chill the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Plenty, like I feel like Plenty, but I can't. But anecdotally, I can't name any for you.
Me neither.
Moving on.
We have Cecil B. DeMille's iconic,
Yes.
classic
Yes.
Cleopatra.
Oh, that is kind of iconic and classic, is it not?
Well, I think we met. I don't know if it was not your best picture, but what's his pants? One of the Mank brothers, Joseph Mankiewicz.
Mank.
Mank. He directed a Cleopatra movie in the 60s with, I think, Elizabeth Taylor. This is an older one, probably shittier. And it's
Incredibly rude.
obviously about the Queen of Egypt, barges. Wait, what? The Queen of Egypt barges the Nile and flirts with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. Okay. This next one, it does what it says on the package,
Okay.
and it's called Flirtation Walk.
Oh. Whoever's naming these movies just like really said like, what do they do in the picture? I guess they just flirt and walk. I guess it's a flirtation walk. Book it, print it. Like that's really the process for all these movies.
Directed by Frank Borzage.
Oh,
private-
classic guy.
Is he?
You've said his name.
Okay. I believe you. A private stationed in Hawaii gets involved with the general's engaged daughter. In order to avoid a scandal, the pair break up, but meet again years later when he's at West Point producing the annual play that turns out to star her. Kind of, From Here to Eternity vibes.
Who directed that? Isn't that Borzich?
No.
Okay. I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
I forget who directed that.
Okay.
And I don't
Cool.
care.
Nice. Very
Next
good.
up, we have The Gay Divorcee.
No.
Directed by Mark Sandwich.
No, that's really what it's called.
That's what it's called, also known as Mark
Incredible.
Sandwich.
Why not?
Seeking a divorce from her absentee husband, Mimi Glossop travels to an English seaside resort. There she falls in love with dancer Guy Holden, whom she later mistakes for the correspondent or her lawyer hired. Sounds boring.
Why is it so dull? I'm sorry. I thought you were the correspondent my lawyer hired. That doesn't get your blood boiling. I don't know what will.
And of course, next up we have Here Comes the Navy.
Yeah, take it.
Directed by Lloyd Bacon, who I think has come up before.
I don't know. I've never heard that man's name.
A cocky guy joins the Navy for the wrong reason, but finds romance and twice is cited for heroism.
Cited for heroism? I don't know why.
You're a hero.
Here's a fucking ticket.
You have to pay $25.
In that time, that was like $850,000. Jesus. Okay, so he's cited for being a hero.
Twice.
Sorry, 2 times. Good for him.
Next up.
That's it?
That's
the whole movie.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Nothing else happens. He's just.
That's it.
What's the heroism?
I don't know. He probably does some naval shit. He probably steers a boat good.
So they also explain the entire plot and synopsis like in the little blurb.
Next up, we have The House of Rothschild,
Okay.
directed by Alfred
Normal.
L. Worker.
Nice.
The story of the rise of the Rothschild financial empire, founded by Mayer Rothschild and continued by his 5 sons. From humble beginnings, the business grows and helps to finance the war against Napoleon, but it's not always easy, especially because of the prejudices against Jews.
Oh, okay. The documentary?
No.
All right.
A feature film starring George Arliss, Boris Karloff, who played
wow.
Frankenstein.
Classic.
There's like 7 more movies.
That can't be.
There's like at least 5 more. All right. Next up, we have Imitation of Life, directed by John M. Stahl,
Okay.
in which a struggling widow and her daughter take in a black housekeeper and her fair-skinned daughter. The two women start a successful business but face familial identity and racial issues along the way. Is probably an incredibly sensitive, very well-observed film about race in America.
Let's hope that it is.
Of course, next up is One Night of Love,
Has to be.
directed by Victor Schertzinger.
Nice.
Mary Barrett is an inspiring opera singer who is taken under the wings of a famous operatic maestro, Julio Monteverdi,
Definitely Julio.
but it's spelled with a G.
Oh, in that case, I don't know.
That's
Maybe
what
Julio.
that's what confused me.
Oh,
After
come on,
spending
man.
endless working hours together and arguing, their relationship develops into love. But jealousy and misunderstandings prevent Mary and Julio from acknowledging their true feelings. Next up, we have The Thin Man.
Oh, this I've heard of.
I've heard of. I hear it's amazing, and I really want to see it. It's based on the Dashiell Hammett book, which I do have behind me, and I need to read.
Wow.
Directed by W.S. Van Dyke, in which a husband and wife detective team take on the search for a missing inventor and almost get killed for their efforts.
Ooh. Okay. Intriguing.
Next up, we have two more. Viva Villa,
Ooh.
directed by Jack Conway.
Cool.
In this fictionalized biography, young Pancho Villa takes to the hills after killing an overseer in revenge for his father's death.
Oh, that sounds like a fun romp.
Finally, the final film, The White Parade, directed by
Great.
Irving Cummings.
Nice. The White Parade, directed by Irving Cummings, is what you just said?
Yeah.
Got it.
Cut it, print it.
Beautiful.
Some of these letterboxd descriptions are so like, it's like marbles in your mouth. Listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm reading this word for word. The title represents the hopeful, ambitious students at a hospital training school and is primarily a story of the stern discipline and laborious physical and mental toil they endure in order to become nurses and join the White Parade. It is told mainly through the character of June Arden, who finds romance with Ronald Hall III on the way, with side stories of the other girls who find failure, success, laughs, and tears on the way. On the way is used twice in the same sentence.
Yeah,
it
it's
feels
too
like
much.
AI wrote it.
Yeah, it needs, which honestly understandable, because who else is writing all these descriptions, right? Those are all the nominees?
Those are all the fucking nominees. We got through it. Do you think It Happened One Night is Best Picture worthy?
I probably got to go with It Came from the Navy or whatever the hell.
Here Comes the Navy?
Here Comes the Navy is probably a 5-star masterpiece, and I got to give it to that.
I'd have to go with The Gay Divorcee.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, sure, this is Oscar worthy. It seemed like it broke ground. Especially if this is truly, I'm sure somebody could cite us and cite a different example as being the first rom-com. But if this is, breaking ground and forming new genres, then sure. That's pretty valuable.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
I think this movie rocks. I kind of like it as a Best Picture winner too, because it's like, it's really slight. It's not like about, it doesn't have the backdrop of World War II. It's just about two characters kind of hanging out
On a road trip.
Yeah, and falling in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's some bullshit, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. Because your take doesn't matter. Hell, my take doesn't matter. Hell, Martin fucking Scorsese's take doesn't matter. You know whose take matters?
Oh,
The people of the internet. Give me the name of a gay divorcee.
it's gotta be Bowen Yang.
Bowen Yang, newly divorced, says 1.5 stars. I'm not a huge fan of roms, and I'm particular about coms, so I didn't love It Happened One Night. I mean, I really didn't like it. Clark Gable's character just kind of annoyed me the whole time. It didn't challenge any of the feelings or preconceived notions I have about rom-coms. I was hoping it would push back on them, similar to how Unforgiven pushed back on my feelings about Westerns. So there you have it. You didn't think we'd talk about Unforgiven in this episode, did you?
I did not, but I'm glad to.
No. Clint Eastwood jump scare. Sorry, folks.
We should do an Unforgive cast.
Just about Unforgiven.
Just every episode's about Unforgiven.
If we were to do a cast, like a spin-off cast about one movie, I think it would be fun to do that one.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't
think
expect you
that's
to say that.
It wasn't my favorite movie that we've done, but I do think it was good, and I think there's a lot that you could break down.
It'd be cool to pick. Yeah, it would be cool to pick a movie in every episode we cover like 1 minute.
Okay,
It's to say it's like a 2-hour movie. It's like 200 episodes just on, very
Okay.
getting really like microscopic.
Who on earth wants to listen to two bozos talk about the 48th minute of Unforgiven, a Best Picture winner from 1990, whatever the fuck?
We spend 45 minutes talking about a minute of film. Incredible. That's the
What
future,
more can you
baby.
say? That's the future for sure. Give me the name of someone who's trying to keep it together but is rocked up right now. Pardon my
Lady
French.
Liberty, because
She is a rock, technically.
just the country's in shambles, truly.
Okay, sure. Lady Liberty says 4 stars for this film. This movie features the horniest man to ever live. He sees a woman's leg and slams on the brake and pulls the handbrake. Lock him up.
Fair.
An iconic scene that we didn't even touch on. This is the progenitor of the pull up your skirt, show a little leg hitchhike technique.
Yeah.
Which is valuable for sure. But yeah, the man who stops like screeches to a screaming halt. So I guess he is the horniest man of all time and should be locked up.
Yeah.
Lady Liberty does go on to say, now I struggle to bring this up because it's so absurd, but I have to do it. Just hear me out. Which, okay. All right. We will. In Sex and the City 2, Carrie watches it happen one night early in the movie. Later, after a long line of horribly offensive shenanigans that I won't get into, Carrie finds herself in full Muslim lady's garb in the country of Abu Dhabi. When the girls are late for their plane and need a ride, she recreates the iconic showing legs scene from this movie and lifts up her abaya to catch a cab. It's one of the most jaw-dropping things I've ever seen, and sadly, you can't think about this movie without thinking of that.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So shout out to the Oscar nominated, actually, Sex and the City 2.
Sex and the City in jail.
Dare you. That's a total Samantha move, actually.
And you're such a freaking Carrie for that.
You bet your sweet ass. Oh, that's it.
That's it?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Finito.
Thanks for putting in the work this week.
I will reach through the screen and absolutely wring your ass.
Oh, man.
I'll wring your neck through your ass. Huh?
Excuse me?
Yeah, you heard me.
No, I appreciate it. We have fun on the show.
I got more. If you want to hear more, I just thought those were the
No.
best. We can go on all
No.
day.
You have a mouse to see. I have a little chocolate cake with espresso cream to eat.
Don't hit me like that. Now I need that in my life.
Next time on the show,
Yeah.
let's talk about the I want to say 58 Best Picture winner, or maybe 57. David Lean's very famous movie, The Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, this is an Oscar Best Picture winner?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I probably saw it when I was like 15 or something like that. I remember
Again,
I remember thinking it ruled. Um, it's a little long. It's close. It's like 2 hours 40, but I
Huh?
do think it is well worth the time. So
Okay. You were really watching a lot of seminal films back in the day.
yeah, I remember pinching out the AFI 100 best films ever, and I tried to knock movies off the list. I remember Bridge on the River Kwai was on that list.
And then I think I shoved you in a locker immediately after that.
You shoved me in a locker.
Yeah.
You didn't let me out. Teachers didn't let me out because you told them why you shoved me in.
Yeah. I got in trouble at first, and then I said this guy used the fucking computer lab to print out the AFI top 100, whatever the fuck. I don't even
And they
know
were
what
like,
that
"What's
is.
AFI stand for?" And I was like, "It stands for the American Film Institute." And they're like, "Oh my God, can we fill up this locker with sand so he suffocates?"
Yeah, they did say that. The principal threatened to have the locker removed and shipped to another country. It was crazy.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the Bridge on the River Kwai.
Nice.
How to cross it, how to destroy it.
Oh, okay.
But until next time, if you're ever on the side of the road
Hmm.
and you need to catch a ride because it's kind of complicated, but your husband, the guy you want to marry is in New York, but the guy you actually love is standing right next to you.
Relatable.
I want you.
I know where this is going.
No, you don't.
Absolutely, I do. I absolutely do. Go ahead.
I want you to lift up your skirt,
Yeah.
pull that emergency hot dog
Of course.
that you have hidden in your stockings for in
Which
case you're
yeah.
hungry.
Need it. Yeah.
Pull that out, hold it out at such an angle, and just kind of flop it in view of the drivers. They'll stop. You'll create a 50 car pile up. That's how many cars will stop because they want a bite of that dog.
Is the idea to make it look like your wiener?
No, the idea is that they like the hot dog that your pretty lady are holding.
Oh, okay. Got it. And this is just a plain dog, or
Of course it's between two buns.
right.
Of course it's caked
It's disgusting.
in
Whatever you're
barbecue
gonna say is
sauce.
disgusting. Okay, unexpected. This is new. Okay.
Of course. It's cut open down the middle, and they ladled just the shittiest mac and cheese in the middle,
Why?
like a little frickin' souffle, like a little hot dog sundae.
This is so foul.
And of course, there's diced pickles, onions, relish, like a kind of sprinkle on top.
Fucking relax.
This is the sauce is running down your leg. You haven't had a bath in months.
No, I've been in hay.
And these fucking drivers haven't had a bite in weeks. And they want that dog. So if you
Really
ever
my dusty ass.
find yourself in those particular set of circumstances, do what I said. Get that fucking ride to your hubby in New York, and then you realize that the guy next to you is actually the one you want to be kissing, and go with God.
Yes. Go with God. Absolutely. Well said.
See you next week, baby wings.
Baby Weenie.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
I have some really fun looking photos of me just like in a sauna that are professionally done.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess I have that for LinkedIn
If
now.
anybody would like to mail away for that, you can send your request to OscarWienersPod@gmail.com.
Nice. Yeah, if you want to see shirtless pics of me.
Or if you want to send us general vitriol,
Yeah. General
hot
vitriol,
takes,
discontent.
cuts.
Yeah. Definitely cold cuts. I'm starving. Some
Dude,
roast
I
beef.
need a salam.
I need something. I'm gonna pass out in the middle of this fucking thing.